Fam, I've been getting your feedback and it's been so good to hear your enthusiasm from the last video and worksheet freebie on clarifying your target audience, your core consumers, and getting down to the nitty gritty on who they are. I'm here for all of it. I will forever claim that that is the single most important milestone in brand development. Once you've got that clear, you've got the magic trick to a steadfast foundation for building brand legacy. So, this information is so valuable because it's not all about the current empires in their fields, it's the age of the come up. People want to know about new brands and businesses that have them understood with real interest in solving their desires. That's what it's about right now. So, the toughest thing for growing brands has been getting clear on the importance of making their brand distinct and how to do it without feeling completely crazy and confused and overwhelmed about where to start and how to execute. So, with that said, I am here to help get you on that fast track. Like I said in the last video, I'm not here to give you the fluff. So, next up is understanding how to apply that highly valuable core consumer data to your strategy development. And with that, let's keep this race car on the track. Here we go. Okay, so in my experience working with busy brand owners to develop and implement their strategy, it has become crystal clear for me that those who understand how critical the work is to develop a sustainable business are typically dealing with one or many of those considerations that you're seeing on your screen right now. So, figuring out how to minimize overwhelm and get started, prioritizing brand development without throwing daily responsibilities off track, those day to day things you know you just have to be doing, how to get it all done without a huge team, and figuring out which is the right great marketing idea to focus on and develop. And then, of course, there's how do I articulate the uniqueness of my brand and what you do and who you do it for. So I figured out that knowing how to get from point A to point B in brand development was not enough when helping people in business for themselves who have limited time and resources. So I knew I needed to figure out how to make it easier for them to get from start to completion. This was tremendously important because brand development cannot be done without the active participation of the brand owner. It cannot be done without their participation, not properly. So it's just not feasible to have an accurate and authentic depiction of the brand without your involvement. It cannot be handed off, but it can be guided to ensure that all the pieces of the puzzle are they're clarified and they're used properly. It really can be made manageable. So let me show you how. If you focus on just these 5 things in this order, all right, the first thing you want to do is you want to get clear on exactly why you do what you do. What drives you? What is important for um, the reason why you're in the business that you're in? Okay, this is important for 2 big reasons. The first, it will be a connecting factor for your core consumers. You can bet that there's something in your story that resonates with that prospective, loyal customer or fan. Number 2, it will be your reminder to keep you motivated when challenges come up. Let's real talk here. Being in business for yourself, being an entrepreneur, staying motivated as an artist, you have to have something to tap into because there's always going to be a challenge in the world of entrepreneurship. Number 2, dig deep into who your most loyal customers and fans are. This is what we talked about in the last video. This is a task that actually never ends, but it's important to do an audit of what you currently know for a benchmark. Okay, so research, survey, and chat it up with the people that you are servicing. Of course, Keep that data. That's the whole point. It's not just to have a conversation and then keep it moving. You want to actually keep record of the data that you're collecting and make sure to grow it as you further your business. You're doing this so that you can show them you understand them. It's like reciting back what you heard. I think I heard you say, right? So it's the same concept. You want to make sure that you're letting them know that you hear them and that you know what they're looking for and what they need. And that is how you earn their loyalty. It's all about them. Third thing, make sure your brand identity is aligned with who you say your brand is and that it is attractive to your core consumers. If the folks you think are most likely to be loyal to you are not drawn in by the vibe you create or the voice you use, then you're off the mark. That's why knowing your story and that of your most loyal consumers comes before creating your brand identity. Don't wing it. Fourth thing, create clear and succinct goals. Now that you've got a great understanding of who you are as a brand, it's time to introduce yourself to the world. And that doesn't mean you just tell folks, hey, I'm in business, or hey, I'm taking the business in a new direction. Check it out. You got to make it a scene and you got to make it a scene with a purpose, right? So this is where the anxiety tends to show up. It's all the great ideas and then there's confusion, right? You got a million great ideas for how to say I'm here, right? And then it's, well, what's the best way to go about it? How do I execute it? How do I break it down to manageable steps? How do I execute? The overwhelm typically comes from a lack of specificity, right? The lack of specificity usually is around the lack of proper planning. So identifying clear short-term goals that you are focused on and using your resources to follow through on that goal is usually what's needed to tame that overwhelm. Your marketing positioning will affect that goal. The position that you have in the market, in your industry, is going to affect your short term goal, your business objective. So make sure you understand what shape your business is in internally, right? For you and your team, and externally, the market that you are servicing, right? Make sure you understand what your strengths and weaknesses are internally and externally, and that you've taken the time to assess what the opportunities are and what the threats are. Okay. You want to make sure your goals are not too broad. You and your team must know the specific and transparent reason for working toward that goal. And you absolutely must have a deadline for accomplishing it. That is what focus is all about. And it makes sure that folks don't backpedal on what they may have originally committed to, right? Why are we doing this again? I thought you said, I thought. When you do this work and you clarify everything and you document it, you the result is you have clarity and you have succinction and you have everyone on the same page. So make sure that you're clear. The fifth thing that you want to do, the final thing that you want to do here is you want to focus your strategy on your specific goal and only your specific goal. This is major. No matter what marketing tactics you use, they should be focused on driving that identified goal and stick to it for a little while. You got to give yourself enough time to identify if your strategy is viable. Tweak a thing or two if you need to along the way, but make sure the plan is being worked and work the plan for at least a quarter of the way to the goal deadline before assessing how things are going. All right. Don't be fly by night and just start switching it up. You got to give it time, properly assess it, understand why you're making the adjustments, make sure the team, anyone you're working with understands it, and then you can move forward in unison. Those five things make it bite-sized, sequential, and manageable. Bite-sizing the agenda and giving each thing on that agenda the time to think thoroughly through it sequentially in increments makes the process super manageable, I promise you. And having the results from each of these increments that you've identified will give you the confidence to move forward, knowing you have the logic and the plan to do so. So, case in point, one of my first beneficiaries, one of the first people that I worked with in once I identified, okay, there's got to be more to helping business owners get this brand strategy development together in a particular way. Once I identified it and put it to work, there was a young lady who was my first beneficiary, and she was a seasoned publicist with over 20 years experience working with internationally recognized brands. She worked with them on campaign development and crisis communications, and she wanted to create excitement around her business and draw clients beyond her network, right? She'd been in business for a while, and I need to expand, I need to scale. It was also really important for her that she find the right clients, those that she would enjoy working with. She was really clear about that. She was ready to develop her brand strategy, but she didn't know where to start. At the time, she was juggling a pretty heavy workload and pitching new business, to keep the sales funnel full. You know what it is. That's what you got to do. But the thought of taking on a new initiative like rebranding seemed completely unrealistic at her capacity. So we went through a simple, bite sized series of sequential actions that delivered sweeping milestone results for her. And we did it in 8 weeks with only about 2 hours commitment each week. So it was super manageable. I knew that she was motivated and just needed clear directives and needed to have the blinders on to be able to focus without feeling like she was sacrificing time or falling behind in her daily schedule, right? Here's what happened. By the end of our 8 weeks working together, she was able to uncover the most authentic differentiators of her brand. She had a deep understanding of who would be her most loyal and well matched clients, right? Just thinking about who she'd been working with and really digging into demographics and psychographics. She had guidelines for a refreshed brand identity that was going to be a draw to her most loyal clientele. And she had the creation of a new packaged offering created that meets the needs of her most ideal clientele. She really was able to boil it down to what should she be offering that's going to draw the right clients for her, the kinds of clients that she would really enjoy working with. So as a result, this is mind blowing. She ended up firing her most draining clients, which was huge for her because it relieved so much of her overwhelm. And she just was able to have a very clear, actionable game plan, right? And at the end of the day, she identified a new representation of her brand that caters to the clients who are best aligned with her values and her principles. Really, really huge thing for her. And the most valuable takeaway of it all was really that she had the tools. She knew exactly what to do to maintain a consistent marketing approach that supports her business objectives and sets her up to build brand legacy. And nobody can take that away from her. She knows exactly what to do. And it's not that she's going to be the only one handling that, but when she has a team that she's working with, she's clear on exactly what should be happening, right? She's got the crust of what should be happening. No matter what new tactics might be applied, she's set. She's got clear understanding. So that's huge, right? Well, in her words, here's the outcome.
And I think the final is just realizing that the confidence of growing the business, how to growing my business, how to get there, growing my brand, further defining it and communicating what it is that I do, was is what I walked away with, which happened on a journey. It wasn't like, oh, here, Jeanette, here's the answer you've been looking for. You wanted 8 weeks prior to us doing this, right? It was a discovery process, and I am ready. I'm ready. The brand you helped me to define what that goal is going to be and how I'm going to get there.
Yes, that makes me so happy every time that I hear that. I want to give you another case in point, shall we say? So most recently, I worked with an artist whose creative career has been really focused on his visual arts, and he was ready to begin sharing his storytelling passion with the world as a fiction author. What's interesting is he was not really sure what route to take. So there's so much noise out there about what's best for a writer, right? It's it should they be working with an agent or in a publishing firm, or should he focus on self-publishing? He was also really unsure of what direction he should focus on regarding his primary genre because he loves to write and he loves to write to his heart's desire, right? So what should he say is his focus? And what he did know was that it was time to go for it. He didn't want to just be thinking about it anymore. He really wanted to figure it out and go for it. So
I mean, I like.
during
I'm
his
not
eight
just saying it
week
to be saying it. Like I just.
during his 8-week journey, he was able to understand how to think of his art as a business, gain confidence in his unique differentiator as an author. We clarified who were most likely to be his biggest fans. And he was able to decide on self publishing as his primary means for distribution. So, after going through this process, here's what he walked away with. Is one of the things that he said he
I
walked
mean,
away with.
I like. I'm not just saying it to be saying it. Like I just didn't have this level of confidence and looking forward to before. Before it was always like I said, created and then kind of be like, oh now no, what do I do? Yes. Whereas now it's like not only do I know what to do, but I know how to grow in what I want to do. Which, I just said I had that before. Doing brand you gave me the confidence to say, okay, I'm going to take a Amazing Arts and make a Amazing Arts, as opposed to go to someone and say, hey, make a Amazing Arts for me, or help me make a Amazing Arts.
The thing about getting started at anything is that it's not a guarantee for completion, right? When you get started on something that has clear milestones toward a completed goal, it takes the guesswork out. It saves you time and error. And the only thing else needed is commitment to complete the steps. So, what might take you weeks, months, or years of confusion, restarting, second guessing, or reciting at some point, I'm gonna, it can be solved with the time machine of an organized, proven framework and an accountability companion. And the rewards are so worth it. Confidence begets knowing, and it comes with clarity. The confidence helps big decisions to be made. It creates urgency because you're motivated to get things done that you know are going to get you to the next step in your business. And that clarity allows you to see what's ahead, the big picture. Time is saved with a thorough game plan. So, knowledge of what your brand is and how to represent it mitigates risk of falling out of alignment with who you say you are, who you say your brand is for you and your team. Same goes for your ability to connect with your invaluable core consumers. So, these are all tools that are necessary to progress a brand and to walk in the utmost confidence of your brand as a business. And that is what this process is about. This is the work that I fell in love with. So, I'm about an inch away from opening the door to a super high value experience working together to get those results that you just heard the case and points for and the testimonials about. I'm talking about get it done stuff, not theory and fluff stuff. We get to work, and in those 8 weeks with just 2 hours a week, we get those results. So this will be a limited offer So stay tuned and please, please, please share your thoughts and questions with me and share this with someone you know who's a budding brand owner who needs to hear it. And I'll see you soon.